Now, let's talk a little bit about search engines, which also goes to the zero moment of truth from Google. So Google and other search engines place their imprints on nearly every consumer vertical that they touch. How far and why do these search engines affect self-storage today? And where will they likely penetrate them next? One example is I was traveling in Europe this summer, and I was using Google Maps to find a location for a hotel, and just to purely just find, and on Google Maps popped up a hotel booking engine that was a Google booking engine. I haven't seen that here in the US. They may have rolled it out in certain regions, but at that point in time last summer, I had not seen it before, and I realized that Google was literally integrating into its informational maps functionality the ability to book a hotel room. So of course, Storit's CEO, I'm thinking, well, so why aren't we booking self-storage units through Google Maps as well?
So what you're saying is it was basically going into like a hotel reservation?
Yeah, so it knew that when I entered in the search box, Gaylord National Hotel, it auto-completed that, and then it popped down a couple boxes. It was like move-in date, number of occupants, right?
Similarly, if you look at hotels, you'll see what they call the carousel. So if you start looking at hotels in Washington, D.C., top of the page, you'll see a list of 50 hotels that you can scroll through. You can see prices in that.
So
right.
Right.
And
serving up the results and kind of trying to transact within that frame.
Right. Right, because, and I've always been used to when you search on a search engine page, of course you're searching for something. If you're searching for hotels and they do Google Shopping, they bring in their Google Carousel. But when I saw them integrating it into Google Maps, which to me that's not a search engine, to me that's a location finding tool, then I realized like, wow, these guys are really penetrating everything I'm doing to try and, serve up that hotel room booking. I mean, who knows, maybe next they're going into my email, we'll get an ad that will be a functional ad in my Gmail that will, allow me to book a hotel room from there, knowing that I'm getting, emails back from Kayak. It's a possibility. So anyway, as a preface, I just wanted to see where everyone was seeing the Google search engine trends, and I know that at Storit's we've tracked and followed Panda updates and algorithm updates just to be able to make sure that we're ranking for certain keywords as high as we possibly can. I'm talking about organic keywords, not paid keywords. Obviously, paid is tied in there as well, but it's a constantly moving target. It was video 3 years ago, and it's becoming it was social 2 years ago. Now it's becoming actually user reviews, like both of you have discussed already. Nick, do you want to speak to a little bit about where you're seeing sort of, how far do search engines really affect self-storage today? How deep do they affect self-storage today? And where do you think they're going to be penetrating, self-storage next?
Well, I think the reviews is something that, it can be very important as Google, they aggregate from a lot of the different reviews that are out there, and obviously the bigger data set that they have to pull from, can benefit you more based on, how many reviews you have. So if you can implement something like post-transaction, where you ask the consumer, I don't know if you have to give some type of an incentive to get them to do it, but something that you can implement on your site where you can gather more reviews about your business. The one thing though that I do see in the self-storage industry a lot of times is you can't really manipulate these reviews. I mean, if you have 5 stars for everything and you're 100% positive feedback, it doesn't look relevant.
If I recall, G5 has a service offering to self-storage owners to help them buy their Google AdWords, buy their Google campaigns. So frankly, you guys probably have the most data in terms of what's useful and what the trend is. What are you seeing as search engines in terms of paid advertising for the self-storage owners? And then what are you seeing as just what you think the next thing is that the search engines will focus on?
I think it's localization. It just keeps getting down to localization. Google is trying to deliver the right result, the right thing, the right piece to you at the place that you are. And so that means different things to different people, but everything that you do is tracked now. I mean, you got your mobile phone, you've got it on your GPS on, you know where you are. And so when you start looking, it's just going to get more refined. And it's going to be based on your history, it's going to be based on where you are, it's going to be based on who you are, and what your friends are looking at too.
Sure. Now, I've always wondered with self-storage, it's always a question at stores, we've always asked this question as well, and we've tried to track data based on our consumer transaction, the purchases based on location and where they rent self-storage. But with self-storage, it's obviously usually related to a transition, right? And so as people moving to or from somewhere, so although local does make a lot of sense intuitively, you kind of wonder if that guy's moving from Washington, D.C., but he's looking for an apartment in Santa Monica. He might be searching Santa Monica apartments, Santa Monica, and in Santa Monica, but he might be needing to do storage in Washington, D.C. So how does self-storage as an industry kind of reconcile that importance of local search and localness with the fact that people may be looking for storage outside of where they're located today?
I mean, that's a fair case point for every storage owner, right? You've got people moving to where you are, or they're living and working where you are. And so you've got to develop a strategy based on kind of all use cases. And so it's an SEO strategy based on location where you are. It's an SEO strategy based on, looking at the area, the neighborhoods where you could be going, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then also from the paid side is developing multiple campaigns. It's not a set it and forget it kind of thing. You want to look at your target market, let's call it, depending on where you are, 10 miles, or it could be, blocks from,
right.
from your property. But so taking that aspect of it and then taking that out to a, what I would kind of call a more national approach to it as well, and looking at more geolocation-based searches.
And when you go to geolocation-based searches, like Chuck, for example, we see in a lot of other apps, software, and consumer internet sites, the use of the term search near you, search nearby, search near me. Are you guys kind of trending toward that verbiage as well, or as an optionality?
Yeah, on our mobile sites you can do search near me.
Yeah, and you like near me, because that's funny. We see it nearby, near you, near me, and in different ways. And actually we've seen a trend in if you do a Google keyword tool search and you analyze the use of the keywords, then you can actually see that those three permutations are very oft used compared to 2 years ago. What about you, Nick? Nearby, near me, near you?
We have a nearby option. Getting back to when you were talking about, though, somebody making a move from DC to Santa Monica, I mean, that brings up a good point. I think that all is just going to come down to the operator, and you need to look at your tenant base and where the majority of your tenants come from. And I think in most cases you're going to find that they're from 3 to 5 miles from your facility. Mm-hmm. So I guess when you're looking at where the majority and what you want to optimize for first, I would probably look at local, but I see your point too.